Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Perfect Album Side. And in the co-captain's chair, the guy who came up with this idea, you haven't seen him here on the channel in a little while, Mr. Steve Fleck. What's going on, man?
What's happening, everybody? Pete, my good buddy.
That's right. It's been
Way
a
back
while.
when, man. College and earlier, right? Or somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm closing on 40 years, man. It's crazy, right?
I can't believe it's been a couple of years. Well, maybe a year or 2 years since we did a show. But yeah, I just thought of this recently, and it was like just because I was listening to one of these albums, and I said to myself, this is one of my, cue the drums in the background, one of my favorites. And I thought, yeah, this is definitely something I've been looking to do for a while.
Yeah. So Steve sent me a text, and he's like, it was like a 10:30 at night. He goes, dude, I got this great idea for a potential show. I was just listening to an album he's actually going to talk about in a second. And what do you think of this concept? I'm like, I love it. This was a couple of months ago. So finally I was like, I needed another, as I've told everybody for the first couple of days of this month, I needed another daily show to do here on the channel. I'm like, all right, perfect album sides. That's what we're going to do. So today is actually day 6 of this show, and Steve is going to be with me for a couple days here, helping out, doing some stuff here. So I'm going to have him kick us off with his first perfect album side of this episode, and then I'll do mine for this episode, and then you'll see us again tomorrow for another one. So what do you got for your perfect album side here?
Yeah, absolutely. And Pete, this is obviously the one that you discussed and the one that made me shoot you that text that night. This has been one of my favorite album sides, although I haven't really necessarily identified it as such until recently, but I've always known it has been ever since I had the album. And when I say album, we're going way back, obviously, but, we're going back a long ways. It's going to be side 3 of Physical Graffiti. To me, one of the best albums ever recorded as far as diversity, as far as just, quality of stuff. I don't care if they were leftovers from Houses of the Holy or Zeppelin 3 or whatever they were, or, recent recordings, which some of them were. Just a fantastic album. And side 3 to me is really it's kind of the outlier, right? Because it's you would call it the mellow side. And to me, it just always, even when I was in high school listening to this in the 80s, it put me into a state of mind. Even back then, I can't describe it, but it was certainly magical. So what you're doing is you're starting off with In the Light, with those crazy synthesizers, and going back to probably Zeppelin 3 recording sessions, Bronny Orr, that fantastic melody, the finger picking Jimmy Page. Headed into the eclectic Down by the Seaside with that great John Paul Jones electric piano. And then possibly one of my favorite songs of all time would be 10 Years Gone, which to me just encapsulates all that Zeppelin ever was. You got some heavy riffs, you got amazing vocals, and of course one of the best Jimmy Page guitar solos ever. That's what I got. Love it.
Yeah, and you know what? You could arguably say any side of that double album set could qualify here, because I love that side.
Yep.
I probably would pick side 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because side 1 to me is like literally go for the jugular right off the bat, right? I mean,
correct.
Yeah, it's and those songs on side 3 or side C, whatever you want to call it, are really underrated, I think. But it just goes to show you the depth of the songs and the variety on this album. It's just Led Zeppelin's finest, without a doubt. And you said it perfectly to intro the whole thing. These are like leftovers, not everything, but from prior albums. Any other band in the history of rock and roll would kill to have leftovers like those, right?
As well said as I could ever put it, and I agree with you. Any side of this album could easily be, and I loved it. Freaking love the entire album. And
yeah, and it gets better
the way it is between me and Physical Graffiti. It's never going to stop.
Yeah, I hear you. Great pick. All right, my choice for today, released September 1977 on the Anthem label. Ooh, he said Anthem. He's got to be talking Rush. Yeah, absolutely. A Farewell to Kings, Rush. And I'm going to go with side A. Remember, we talked about how to qualify for this, you have to have at least 2 songs on a side. So a big side long epic like 2112 that doesn't count automatically. So here we've got the title track of Farewell to Kings, which I think is one of their most underrated songs from the early part of the catalog. It's regal, it's heavy, it's majestic, great guitar playing from Mr. Lifeson, both the acoustic intro and the electric stuff coming up. The vocals are outstanding, and at at 5 minutes and change, it feels really epic, but it's not that long. And I think it's just an absolutely great tune. And most people generally, when they talk about this particular album, they talk about, Cygnus X1 all the way at the end on side 2. But how about Xanadu, which is the big epic on side 1 at 11 minutes and change? I mean, that's generally speaking, you think this album, you think Xanadu. And Xanadu is probably my favorite Rush song. That changes from day to day, but Xanadu is big, it's epic, it's heavy, killer riffs, killer textures. You got obviously the beginnings of the synthesizer coming into play in Rush's music. It's complicated as all hell. It's heavy. It's everything you want from Rush. And to me, those 2 tracks, boom, boom, just make up an absolute perfect album side. I don't think it gets much better than that. The funny thing is, I knew I wanted to do Rush this month, but man, did I have a hard time deciding which album to go with, because like conventional wisdom said, well, you could just easily pick Moving Pictures, Pete, right? But everybody's going to pick that one, right? That's like
I'm mouthing it right now.
Exactly. That's that low hanging fruit that I'm trying to avoid this month, right? Because it's like
we're not talking about side 2.
Well, side 2, but the funny thing is, side 2 of Moving Pictures, all these years later, is now the side that everybody talks about that is so amazing that they ignored back 40 years ago.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
So, that I almost picked that, but I was like, that's too easy. I almost picked Permanent Waves side 1 because that's killing. But I said, all right, I want to go a little bit off the beaten path. And I think this is just side 1 of this, or side A, is just absolutely ridiculous. Two great songs. And I know a lot of people dig side 2 as well, but I think side 1 is just really, really tight. 2 tracks, all you need. And so there you have it, everybody. Side A to Farewell to Kings, and side 3 or side C for Physical Graffiti from Led Zeppelin. Those are our perfect album side picks today from Steve and myself. Tune in tomorrow for another one. And while you're waiting for that, visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. Check us out on Facebook, but more importantly, we're here all together all the damn time on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that little notification bell down below so you get notified of all of our videos as they post. We also have the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations and our merch page for Sea of Tranquility shirts and hats and caps and all that kind of good stuff. So thanks for watching, everybody. For Steve Fleckeye and Pete Pardo, we'll see you tomorrow morning with another perfect album side. Take care.